Okay, so this is our first official board meeting for Common Sense for United America, which is been like a year coming. So I'm super excited. So this is awesome.
Very good.
Thank you both for, yeah, we're there. Thank you both for, being a part of this momentous occasion. We have to start off with a quick roll call. So Leslie Crouch,
Here.
Beverly West,
Here.
and Ted McGetchman. I am here. Okay. So let's just go through the agenda that we've got. We're going to start off with the consent agenda. So for the consent agenda tonight, if we pass it, that is passing our policies and procedures, our committee descriptions, and our code of conduct. So I will move that we pass the consent agenda, and someone can second it, or someone can say, nope, we need to talk about it. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimously passed. And now to vote to approve the bylaws. I wanted to leave these separate because these are kind of a big deal when it comes to doing the 501c3
Okay.
and our other official things with Nevada. So I would like to move that we approve the bylaws as written and passed out to the committee members, and those will also be uploaded. I think they're already uploaded to our CSUA Google Drive. So I move to approve those.
Yep, I second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the bylaws?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, those have been approved. Okay, so those are kind of the big things, the major things I wanted to get through. For the rest of the agenda, though, one thing I want to do is I'm just learning how to be a board member. I don't think, Leslie, you've ever been a board member. Bev, you probably have. But what I'd like to do is a little bit of board training. And so what that's going to consist of is I'm just going to show you a video that kind of covers some of the major things that we as a board need to make sure we take care of. And this is from Sandy Reese, and she does a fantastic job of it. And I'll talk more about her later. But I'm just going to put this on. So can you make me a co-host real quick, Leslie?
You might have to walk me through how to do that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so up by my name, you'll see an ellipse. There's 3 dots. It'll say mutant and 3 dots or something like that. If you click on the 3 dots, it'll see make co-host will be one of the options.
I do not
do you have the
have that.
participants? Do you have the participants list open?
Participants. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Make host. Okay, there you go.
So once you see, not host, but co-host. But
Sorry.
here, hold on a second. We'll get this. This is good. It's just learning it. Okay, so Leslie, you are going to become host again real quick. Just to practice, make me the co-host. A co-host as soon as it switches to you.
I only have make host available, and
Oh, really?
that's it. Yeah.
Interesting.
There's
Okay.
no make co-host.
All right, I'll have to look into that. Go ahead and make me the host again then.
Okay.
So I can do my, actually I could just set up, anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So let's take care of security. We can all do screen sharing. I'm going to share my screen. And now you are looking at a big black page. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Can you hear that?
No.
No.
Okay, and I know what I did wrong.
Oh,
Hold on a
my
second.
God. I think I know this chick. I'm not.
Oh, yeah? Friend of yours?
No, like in some like playwrights workshop about 100 years ago. that I
Okay.
was
See, start share advanced options. Where is the share sound? There it is. Sure sound. Okay. And we want this. And sure. And we're going to go big. And we're going to go back. Okay.
Every nonprofit has a board of directors, yet most people don't understand what exactly the board's job is. It's surprising how many board members themselves are
nothing, I assume,
confused
right?
about their role. You may be a little unsure what your board
I can hear.
I can hear it.
Can you guys hear it? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. If you can hear, then I think maybe it's just me. I have to go on headset or something.
board should be doing, but you're pretty sure it's more than what they're doing now. And you know what? If your board members and staff aren't clear about the board's responsibilities, the nonprofit is set up for a big mess. People are going to be frustrated, unhappy, and ultimately they will resign. On this episode of Fundraising TV, I'll cover the 10 basic roles and responsibilities of a nonprofit board so you can get yours on track and focused. And if you want to share this episode with your board so that they can understand their role, please feel free.
If you're looking for the best advice you can get when you're raising money for a nonprofit, Fundraising TV.
Whether you're just starting out or already have a board in place, you need to understand exactly what their role is so that you can support them to do their job. Someone once said that a board exists to provide foresight, oversight, and insight. In other words, your board should help you see problems before they occur. They should evaluate how well things are working, and they should help you find new and better solutions. Your nonprofit's board of directors exists to make sure that your organization fulfills its mission. Plain and simple. It's also responsible for making sure the organization meets its regulatory responsibilities and files appropriate paperwork with government agencies. Plus, it's responsible for ensuring that you meet goals and keep promises to the public, donors, and beneficiaries. It's a much bigger responsibility than most people understand.
I do not understand.
Unfortunately, most who serve on nonprofit boards have no clue what they've gotten themselves into. They don't understand their fiscal or legal responsibility, nor their ethical responsibility. You see, there's of how nonprofit boards work. And in the absence of understanding, people do whatever they think is right, which leaves the organization open to micromanaging, mismanagement, and more. Yuck!
Yuck.
It pays big in the long run to take the time to make sure everyone is on the same page and understands their role so you can build a cohesive group of people who have your back when you need them. Okay, you ready? Here are the 10 basic roles and responsibilities for a nonprofit board. Role number 1, determine the organization's mission and purpose. Your board is responsible for determining the mission of the organization. Normally that seems like something they would do during the startup phase of the nonprofit, but missions can change over time. As your nonprofit grows, your board is responsible for keeping the organization focused so that mission creep doesn't happen. Role number 2, select the executive director. A nonprofit board is responsible for hiring and overseeing the executive director or CEO of the nonprofit. Initially, the executive director role is filled by the founder. But later, as the nonprofit grows or the founder steps away, the board may need to recruit and hire an executive director. Either way, the board has one employee to oversee. The executive director is responsible for managing all other staff and volunteers and running day-to-day operations. Role number 3, provide proper financial oversight. It's the board's job to provide proper financial oversight for the organization. The board is responsible for monitoring how closely financial activity matches the actual budget, looking into how much programs and services cost and whether that cost is appropriate. They should put internal controls in place and help write policies to prevent loss, theft, or confusion using current best practices. For instance, they may create a policy that requires 2 signatures on a check to make sure that no one person can remove money from the bank account. The board should inspect your balance sheet and income statement regularly, preferably monthly, and they're responsible for making sure that you meet your legal and tax obligations. A board that is serious about this role can be very helpful when you approach potential donors because it can alleviate concerns about where their money is being spent. Role number 4, ensure adequate resources. As leaders of your nonprofit, your board is responsible for making sure the organization has the resources it needs to operate. That means each and every board member should be involved in fundraising in some capacity during the year. It may be helpful to put your expectations for board members in writing so it's clear what you consider participation in fundraising. You should also acknowledge that your board members each have different skills and personalities, and some will be better at asking for money than others. Try to find them a place where they can excel instead of asking every board member to do the same job, which just won't work. Encourage them to leverage their professional and social relationships to bring new supporters to the table. Who do they know that could be potential donors for your organization? Your board should also make personal financial contributions to your nonprofit. Having 100% board giving is important for getting grants and also lets donors know that the entire board is fully behind your nonprofit. If you haven't watched the episode on getting 100% board giving, check that one out for some practical ideas. Role number 5, ensure legal and ethical integrity and maintain accountability. Your board is responsible for making sure that the nonprofit operates within the laws that govern it at the local, state, and national level. That means submitting annual corporate paperwork and tax information to appropriate agencies. In the U.S., that's the IRS. Every board member should be familiar with your organization's bylaws and adhere to them. Your bylaws are the organization's internal rules of operation, and if they're out of date or not followed, your nonprofit is out of integrity with itself. The board should make sure the organization has a system for keeping accurate records in case they're requested by government agencies or from donors. The board should help create and maintain a code of ethics for your organization too. Ultimately, your board is responsible for making sure that the nonprofit is in compliance with all relevant laws and regulations. Role number 6, ensure effective organizational planning. Your board is responsible for both short-term and long-term strategic planning for the organization. Working with key staff and volunteers, the board needs to make realistic plans that take into account the organization's vision, the community's needs, and the environment in which your nonprofit operates. The board should also be involved in the planning process for evaluation of the strategic plan once it's implemented. Role number 7, recruit and orient new board members and assess board performance. The board is responsible for recruiting new board members, although that's best done in partnership with your executive director. Your current board members should be involved in the entire recruitment process and not let the founder or executive director add whoever they want, because that can lead to all kinds of problems later. Once you have new board members, it's the board's job to orient them to help them understand their roles. Your board members with just a year's experience can be really helpful in this process since they're the last ones to come through it. Your board should also periodically perform a self-assessment to evaluate their performance and identify areas for development. This is different from an overall evaluation of the organization. It's simply to evaluate how the board might be more effective in their role. If there are issues or conflicts, you and your board members might find that an outside consultant can be facilitated. Role number 8, enhance the organization's public standing. Board members should be prepared to be an ambassador for the organization and advocate for its services. You're a bridge between your nonprofit and the community, the media, and government entities. Because they donate their time, people in the community tend to respect the fact that they're part of something that they really believe in. The board should work to create the public brand of the organization as well. Together with the executive director, they should decide who the public spokesperson is, what they should say, and how they should interface with the media when called upon. Role number 9, determine, monitor, and strengthen the organization's programs and services. Board members should have detailed knowledge of the nonprofit's programs, including who participates in or takes advantage of your programs and services, and what results they are getting. Your board should help you evaluate what's working, what's not working, and what needs to be improved on. Your board should work with the executive director to develop a way to measure the impact that your programs are having and also the participants' satisfaction with their experience in your programs. Role number 10, support the executive director and assess his or her performance. Your board is responsible for supporting your executive director and providing an annual performance evaluation. The board should create a clear process for conducting this evaluation and identify specific board members to carry out the evaluation on behalf of the entire board. Everyone should be very clear about when and how evaluations take place, preferably done at the same time each year, and what exactly the executive director is being measured against so that there are no surprises. Noodle on this. Your nonprofit's board members are leaders of your organization with a specific job to do. They have a clear set of roles and responsibilities to fulfill to help your nonprofit achieve its mission. When everyone understands exactly what's expected of them, your organization will operate much more smoothly. Plus, it feels better having everyone on the same page for moving forward. Now it's your turn. Using what you've learned in this episode, plan out how you'll help your board understand their basic roles and responsibilities. You might show them this episode at the next board meeting and together choose the 1 or 2 areas where improvement is most needed right now. Once you have those finely tuned, go on to the next area or 2 that need help too. Keep working through the entire list until your board understands their job and is working like a well-oiled machine. Having a strong board that understands and embraces their role really makes a difference. It sets the nonprofit up for success and makes board meetings a lot more fun. A strong board usually means an efficient, effective organization that changes more lives. And that's what we're here for. See you next time on Fundraising TV.
Fundraising TV.
I think you're muted, Ted.
Yeah, I am. How's that? Okay. Again, sorry if that was old hat for folks, if they knew all that stuff from before, but I wanted to kind of, as she said, give that level playing field. And with that, I will also step back and say,
TV.
Bev, comments.
Fundraising TV, that's interesting. Is that your friend's
That's
channel?
her thing. I'm going to talk more about that. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask, is that your friend's channel?
I don't know her. I've found out about Fundraising TV, or their Get Fully Funded is the name of the group.
Uh-huh.
And I've been going through their training things, and I'll show you that a bit more in a moment because I've got kind of an offer for you too. But any thoughts on the video itself or thoughts towards that? We'll start with Bev.
No. I mean, yes,
Okay.
none that are particularly pertinent to the business at hand. I knew that chick and I'm like shocked to discover her doing industrials.
Really?
That's
You
shocked.
know her?
I really do. She's like some actress that's been banging around the circuit for like a while, I'm guessing.
That's
Huh.
interesting. That doesn't match with, it might be someone who looks like her. Doesn't
Maybe.
mesh with her backstory. She
Oh, that's the
never
actual
did
woman.
any kind of
That's not
acting or actress or anything. That's the woman. She started as a nonprofit. She started in, and then she was given the role of
Oh, then
fundraiser,
I'm
and
wrong.
then she
Then
did
I'm
it. She
wrong.
did it extremely well, and she became better and better, and then started helping other people.
Oh,
Okay.
I get it. Then I'm wrong. Yeah, she just looks like her. I thought those were industrials, like they made
Okay.
a bunch
Leslie, do you have anything?
I thought the evaluation piece was
No,
interesting.
not that.
I'm sorry. Oh, I just said I thought the evaluation piece was interesting. It made me think of kind of like a DEOC survey assessment that we do every year. So I thought that was interesting and how we would go about that. But
Yeah,
Yeah, it was, and we know our roles that we've kind
Yeah.
of got for each other. So it's looking at those and figuring out how, it's just a good basis. So that's what
yes, absolutely. I think it's good to have a good
yeah,
foundational
We
understanding of the expectation.
are responsible for it. Now, we don't have an executive director. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I hate the internet here. It's
Really
like,
lagging.
it's too laggy. Yeah. So I'm going to do another quick screen share with you, just to finish up on this topic just a bit more. Do it. Okay. And I want to go back to this. Okay. So on this fundraising TV kind of thing, they got this neat little feature, the dashboard. And let's see if it gets over to it. Just takes a little takes a moment. And one of the things it has is, you go through different stages, and we are now in stage 2, getting incorporated, all of those sort of things. So in stage 2, this is kind of how it's laid out for what's ahead of us. Charitable registration, that's the 501c3 that we're going to talk. Key volunteers, the accounting system. What accounting system do we want to use to manage this, like QuickBooks Online or something like that? Building the logo and the branding, building the basic website, doing the social media, board giving. I think we're good on that. We each have a responsibility for 250.
Right.
That was kind of the way we did it. Our first budget, kind of have a sample of that. And then a bit more stuff, donor management software. I'm looking at that. So what I wanted to offer to you two is, if you wanted to go down this path, because I'm thinking Bev as our treasurer, the accounting system, kind of up to you.
Okay.
Leslie
Okay.
and Bev, logo and branding. up
I'm
to
not
you.
the right
Go ahead.
to
Bev.
be dealing with numbers about. Like, I started out as head of communications and I wound up treasurer. And that's not my strong suit. Let's just put it that way. I'm not good at numbers, accounting systems. I get a rash when I even see a spreadsheet. So I'm probably not the right person to be making
You're
those decisions
fine.
about accounting systems. I
Okay.
know I'm not the right person.
Okay.
I should
Okay.
come more into basic website, that kind of stuff, communications. In terms of responsibilities,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to re-wicker board positions then.
I mean, I know you were just plugging in holes.
And I mean, there's
around
3 of
jobs
us.
Formed, right? But I'm just saying I can't make decisions about accounting systems. I don't know about them at all. Like, at all.
No, that's
But I do
okay.
know about
So
logo
that's
and branding. Right? So can't we just do stuff? I mean, there's 3 of us. We're all gonna be doing
that's good topic later. So what I'm thinking is, if you are interested, yes. So if you're interested in following kind of through this pathway, I'm willing to pay for you two to also have membership to this, get fully funded. And then you can see at least what they're thinking, what they're talking about, what they recommend,
Okay, sure.
how it works.
Yeah.
If you'll use it.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you'll use it, I will do it. So consider
Looks
that
good
done.
and tedified visually, right? It looks like
Yeah.
the interior of your brain a little bit. When you think things through. I think.
It gives you a path, that kind of thing.
That's right.
So, and it's a really neat.
And it's got cute drawings.
Okay, so I'll go. It does. It's a good thing to
Got a
look
nice
at, to just inspire the ideas.
Yeah.
Another thing, how are we doing on time here, real quick?
It's 8:30. 8:30 our time.
So, I'm just looking at this one timer thing.
Oh.
Okay, I've got 2 more minutes left. So, the other thing that I'm working with Wagey on, and I've got a plan to move our website off of swarmage.net to commonsenseforunitedamerica.org. So it
Oh,
won't be a
perfect.
transfer. It'll always have that email address. And you all would then take, and can make it look like what you want. And the swarmage.net, that will just be that tree map part. So whenever someone goes, hey, are we there yet? It will go over to the swarmage.net and show that tree map of where everything is. But then the rest of it is however you would want to have it built.
Mhm.
If we're getting someone to do it though, Wagey or someone, again, we'll need to figure out how to pay for it. But that's tomorrow CSUA's tomorrow board problem. Or our problem for tomorrow. So, okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing on that.
It's cute. I like it.
It's really, they do a very good job. It's very effective. I think they have a lot of good resources, and our goal is to succeed. And if
Yeah.
I don't think this group is taking advantage of anything. I think they're very good at what they do. They have a lot of experience, and they want, it's just,
Absolutely.
so I think there's a good
And
group.
it's cute. It's cute, I think.
Yeah.
Very clear. And, we don't know what we're doing. so-
Okay, so Bev,
Yes.
true. When it comes to the bank account, then,
Yes. I
since
looked
you're
into
not
that.
the number, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we thinking? Over to you.
So I think we should go with either Blue Vine or like a Blue Vine business checking. That's what I'm going to recommend, which is a digital international bank. So it's just a sign up, no charge, free service, thing. And it can attach to I think we should then collect money through Stripe.
It's called Blue Vine.
Blue Vine and Stripe. That's the package I'm recommending.
Now, there's another donation system, and this might go into the donor system, called Give Butter. And I
Oh,
think
yeah,
it
that's
works
right.
the same as Stripe, and I think
But
it'll
it
link.
But it might take a little less points. So that's good, because Stripe takes I think 2.9.
I
takes
think
a
I've
couple of
heard
points.
some things kind of against
Unless it's
Stripe.
Stripe.
Okay, so
So anyway, for money payments, we want to do something, whether it's Square, Stripe, whatever, not PayPal. But for banking, I talked to my banker. You would have to be personally present. They can't do like a SIG card. They don't do that with accounts. They just don't. Like, they want you in person. And so unless I was the only person on the account, which doesn't really make sense. And I don't really want to be the only person on the account. We would then have to do an online banking situation because we're in different countries.
okay.
Or
And so
you could do a bank account. I mean, I don't know what your situation is with any domestic institutions where you already bank. They could probably do it for you because they already know your identity. You know what I mean? If you have any domestic accounts, then what my banker said you could do is, they might let you float with an e-sig card because they've already verified your identity. And then you could just add me as a cosigner if you want to. Which you don't
okay, so
do. I don't need to
one-
transaction banking for you.
all
you
right.
know?
The bank, so, okay, just to quickly summarize what you said. So Blue Vine is the one that you were looking at. It's an
Chime or
online
Blue
bank.
Vine.
The other
Chime or
option,
Blue Vine. Right.
Chime or Blue
Two
Vine.
options,
Okay,
Chime or Blue Vine.
okay,
Or contact, if you've got a bank in Nevada or wherever if you have any domestic accounts, do that.
yeah, well, Leslie probably might be the same thing, but I have Navy Federal Credit Union.
I have
And
community
that's
bank.
actually okay. Well, community
Yeah.
bank is here locally, Navy Federal Credit Union. I don't know if you used them when you were in the Navy.
Yeah, I did.
The only thing would want to make sure that if I ever left, that the organization could still use it, even if there wasn't a military
Yeah.
or former military person there. Otherwise, NFCU is a good institution. So I
Well,
can
that would
ask
look
them.
good for the organization also. That's good. That looks good. I think.
Okay, so I can ask them, and if that's not a problem, I mean, we can go with NFCU. And then I would need to set it up And then if not that, then either Blue Vine or Chime. I
Right.
don't know the difference. It's kind of whichever one you think looks
You
good.
have
I
an
could, what I
account.
could do though is take a look at Give Butter, make sure they connect.
Yes, do that. I'll look at Give Butter too.
Yeah.
Or my other
Okay.
suggestion is if the NFCU is a problem, does anybody have an account over here? Ted, do you have like, Bank of wherever, wherever, like you have nothing here. You've been over there so long.
No,
All right.
Leslie?
Yeah, I have, it's in Tennessee. It's one of the local banks at home.
Yeah, yeah, local banks we'd probably need a national bank.
Yeah, it's very local,
Yeah, so.
fortunately.
Who it is, or Chime or Blue Vine.
Yeah, the two that we have are the Navy Federal Credit Union and what's there's another military based one.
Oh,
I can't remember what it's called though.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's Community Bank, Navy Federal,
That-
and I can't think of it, but I know
Them.
what you're talking about. Them.
Whoever
Yeah.
they are, but it's like the same as NFCU. And I'm already doing, we have Swarm Age through NFCU. They've already got a company kind of set up. So I'll talk to them. We'll look at Give Butter. We'll look at
good
Chime and
option.
Blue Vine if those two don't
Yeah.
work. And I'll report back to you guys next week.
Great, and I'll check out.
Okay. All right. Leslie, do you have anything more on the banking thing?
I don't.
Mhm.
You're frozen, Ted.
So we'll move into the next topic, the DYS media. You'll see an email out to a public relations firm in Michigan with this idea of, hey, tell me how much it would cost to get 1,500 supporters, what the educational outreach would be, that sort of thing. The individual I spoke with, Dave Yonkman, great guy, very interested. But later, yesterday, I had a conversation. He says, I just can't get behind the idea of max voting, approval voting. And he says, it's already so complicated. And he had other reasons. And what I want to do, so we're not obviously going to be reaching out to that firm, but I thought it was great because here's somebody who's very interested in what we're doing. He's, as I was telling Leslie, he's done, he was on Capitol Hill. He's been, doing this kind of stuff. And so if we can I think he'd be a good resource for us to bounce ideas off of, to see, does this resonate? Does this make sense? Is it clear? Is it clean? And see if we can ever convince him, that probably means we have the right messaging or we've gotten it down. So it's, oh yeah, that makes sense. Kind of that aha. So what I am doing though, is I'm continuing that plan, but I'm reaching out to some other places. And there was some mistakes made on my voter count. So actually where I'm going to now is Ohio. And there's a place called Morgan County, and they have a public relations firm, and they are also a smaller county. So I think we would have a good effort, but I've not heard back from them yet, but I'm continuing to reach out then to other firms to try to find one inside a county. Population that we can see. Just give us a cost. What's an
Right, that's an interesting idea.
estimate? And we could also look to try. Yeah. So Bev, what do you think of all that?
That sounds like an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I
Leslie?
think we better have our messaging down before we go and do something like that.
Good,
though.
Bev.
Yeah.
Well, my thinking helping us shape that message and build that message. And then we could, of course, use whatever we learn from whatever public relations firm that is and apply it everywhere else. And then we go to another public relations firm, we get a different spin, another one, we get a different spin. And we just kind of keep doing that from place pockets of core supporters who would then, break off and actually start doing an initiative to get some legislation passed or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Leslie,
Yeah, I agree. I'm for it. So what was,
okay.
what did Dave mean when he said the voting system now is already complicated? And how
said
would
that
Max,
the vote-
how would Max voting make it?
Voters,
What was his
now he's a
reasoning for-
libertarian.
Okay.
The reason is that he goes, people are already confused by the voting system. People don't trust it. And you're going to then, make it more complicated. And I think if you look at it from, hey, here's this max voting, it could be this way, it could be that way. I think that's probably where we're generating some of that confusion, as opposed to just maybe sticking with the approval voting message is the right way to go. And just say, hey, look, your ballot will look the same. You can just mark as many things as you
Marcus
want.
more choices. Yeah.
The ants, who wins is calculated the same way. Who's got the most votes?
This
It's
idea that voting,
not more complicated from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have Zena.
Okay, good.
Go ahead, Beth.
where did we get this idea that voting is supposed to be easy?
Well, it should be. I think it needs to be as easy as somebody saying, who do you want? I want Bill. And that was another thing that he said was, you're voting for all these different people. There's only one person who could fill the spot. And I think what's important for us to take away is that we're going to hear these same arguments over and over and over. So the cleaner we have a response and the more, kind of thing we can put together, the better it will be. But it should be, it needs to be about that easy. If it's easier, then who do you want? I want Jared.
I
Okay.
disagree.
Then
don't
it needs to be about
It
as
needs to be
simple as
that
that.
easy. I disagree.
Okay. And that's
I
cool.
think voting should require thought and awareness and research and effort.
I-
mean, that's almost a campaign.
And I remember you telling me about, the voting contest in New York when they had ranked choice voting, but it really made you have to think about the other candidates because you were going to put more than one on your ballot and you had to study it and you had to understand all of them. And I think that's very important and valuable. This is your area, Bev. It's all comes down to perception and how do people perceive this as confusing and threatening and scary. And because it isn't anything, it's just how people perceive it. And so can we make it so they perceive it in a better way?
Right. And I don't think that means necessarily making it easier because
Okay.
that's how we wound up here. I mean, where the idea of ticket came from was they started in the 1800s printing a straight Republican or straight Democratic voting ticket on the back of your train ticket. So it was
Mhm.
very easy to vote. All you had to do was X marks the spot and drop it in a box, that was the, in at your ballot box. That was making it easier. And look where it got us. I mean, it's
Right.
this idea where the less you have to think about it, the better, because that way more people will vote. I myself don't personally want more uneducated voters who haven't taken the time to think about who they want their leader to be. That's just my personal view. Somebody
I
says
think that's all fair. Yeah.
that's
But
what I
it
would
would-
tell them. Like
Okay.
voting, people died for your right to do this. What? It's too hard?
Sure. Leslie, what do you have?
Oh, nothing. I totally agree though.
Okay. I'm going to keep going back to you two because I know some of the things that make for good teams is where everyone talks about the same. And I'm already talking way too much, but
Well,
we're going to move on then to, so
that's the way I'd push back when people say things like that to you, Ted. That's why I'm telling you that. Like, people assume voting's
Sure.
always supposed to be made easier and easier and easier and easier. Why do we assume that? Why is
Mhm.
that good? You know, why don't we get educated voters who are gonna, who your leaders are is important. You know, what
Right.
it's too much to have to vote for between 5 of them?
Right.
Bullshit.
Well, I've written down some things that he wrote, and what I'll do is I'll send those, I'll send those out to you too. And I'd be interested to see, what do you think a good response to something like this would be? And we'll the three of us will come up with something. We'll send it to him. It's like, hey, what do you think of this response? And I think he would just be a good sounding board. Seems like a really great guy, wants to see things get better and stuff. Just didn't feel like, this was quite where it needed to be yet. So I think this will be an asset long term.
Okay.
All right. I want to move on then. So to Whitney Hugh and the research thing. Not heard back from her. And that she was our approach mechanism into Center for Election Science.
Uh-huh.
What do you two think about that? As far as us continuing to reach out for Center for Election Science, and I can talk more about the research project itself. There's other avenues I'm pursuing specific to that. That's kind of almost tangential. This is more like this is going to be our inroad. Should we try a different inroad? Do we want to just wait and see if we can't hook up with her over the next month?
Yeah, I think just give Whitney a few more days. I think they're still coming out of the election stuff that was going on. So she may even would rather do first week of December.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Okay, well, that sounds good. We'll just kind of, I'll send another tipper email to her the first week of December, and we'll see if we don't get anything, prior to me rolling out on the 12th.
Yeah, it's the
or 13th.
holidays now.
And yeah. And just making contact and starting the discussion. That's about all we're looking to do at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she acknowledged, so I think that's a
sounds good. Bev, do you have anything else on that?
No, that's good.
Okay. And copy your last there, Leslie, that she was thinking, hey, maybe by, sometime in December. Okay. All right. Now, next thing, 501c3. As far as us getting that, it's going to be $600 no matter what we do, because we pay that to the IRS to actually look at the package. Now, if we go with a group like Foundation Group, they're going to charge an extra $3,300, but they'll guarantee that we get the 501c3 status, and they'll also do the first year taxes. So if I'm going to be the one shackled with the taxes, and Leslie might be the one shackled with filing for the 501c3, it would kind of be benefiting. But I don't know. What do you think, Bev? Do we go it alone? Do we use them? Do we do one or the other? And if we use them, what do you think about funds? Go over to you,
it's a
Bev.
first world problem we don't have yet. I mean, we're 3 people sitting in a room. You know what I mean? Not even in the same room. So I don't think, I'm not entirely sure we'll take in money within this fiscal year. I think we're still getting ourselves oriented. So, I mean,
Not even put in for 501c3?
I'm not sure there's a rush on that anymore. Especially since we're talking about lending our services in a different way to other host organizations, then are we then going to be like a cause related tribe that goes in and like partners with other organizations to help them do stuff like this institute? Or are we gonna be a fundraising entity on our own that perhaps donates money to other, I mean, like, I don't think we've made fundamental decisions like that yet. And I think those decisions are more important at this juncture. Unless we're gonna go out tomorrow and do an event and start soliciting donations. I mean, I think the 501(c)(3) getting on course is good, is fine, and we're gonna need it. I'm not sure we have to worry about how to do taxes, because I'm not sure there's gonna be any income. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, let me ask this question and straight. Do you think we need to get 501(c)(3) or apply for 501(c)(3) status at this point?
How long does it take?
It could take anywhere from, I think, faster is, it could be done within a month. If there's no mistakes and everything goes through smooth the first time. Our challenge will be, will they think we're a political?
Then I would say, based on that, that we should wait until after the holidays to worry about that.
Okay,
And that would give us an opportunity to speak to
Leslie, what do you think?
other folks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's wait until the new tax year. And then I am fine just paying out of pocket to 200, but as a consensus, if we'd rather go with foundation group, I'm happy to pay 1/3 of that cost as well. But I would definitely wait till the new, not fiscal year, I meant the new tax year, 2023.
Right,
Right,
let's do that. I think there'll be some options for directions for us that we're not yet aware of. I think we should
Yeah,
opportunity to talk to see how we're gonna
okay,
fit.
all right, so
White
then we're going
label,
to,
or are we, what are we?
okay, are we fully in support of someone else and bring in what we can to help them, accomplish the same mission, our mutual mission? Or are we going this alone? Okay,
Are we a
Yeah.
tribe or a nation?
all right,
because who knows, Whitney could come back and say, yeah, we want this, come work under us now.
right,
one thing we'll have to do emails back for having a Nevada charitable registration. I don't think that 501(c)(3), but I will also say that on some of these free, which I think includes the Give Butter and also Bloomerang, which is a donor tracking system. Not that we're going to have donors, because, I mean, people can still donate to us once we have a bank account. It's just not, it's not tax free. We're not an official 501(c)(3).
yes, I don't think that's a pressing
But
problem.
those things I think require for you to get the free version, then you put in the back of your mind. But that's cool with me.
Yeah, let's
So,
take that up.
okay,
Agree.
Yeah, I agree.
okay, that sounds perfect. And on to the idea of board meeting schedule. What I would like to propose is that every other month on the third Thursday is when we would formally get together. We do the taping, we do the official board meeting. The rest of the time, we just work like we normally would, talking to each other when we need to, setting up meetings and getting on with business. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Yep.
Okay. We'll plan on doing it via Zoom. It's and the idea of how do you want to go forward with the foundation group? So just kind of complete the rest of that step 2 for the get fully funded, that second path, we'll hit those other items. But we just won't have 501(c)(3) status. And we're not going to start soliciting for now.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that. Okay. That all makes sense.
Okay, good.
Okay. Meeting wise, does anyone else have any final questions, comments on anything. And Leslie, the floor is yours for as long as you want it.
I don't have any other comments.
Okie doke. Bev, how about you?
No new business.
No new business. Okay. I don't have anything further for the official group. And so I'm going to close this meeting off on the 17th of November. And that's our first meeting. Hooray!
Get it.